What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Atlantic Files, the number one podcast on the number one division in the NBA. And first and foremost, I just want y'all to know this podcast is everywhere you find podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere. It is also on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe below. If you like these videos, drop a like as well. Give us some comments too. I'd love to hear what you guys think about a lot of the topics that we're talking about here. The other thing that we got to talk about is Ben Simmons saying that he thinks he's the best defender in the NBA. For anyone out there that is saying Ben Simmons needs to stop capping and that Ben Simmons is nowhere close, listen. Look at me right here. Look at me. Just admit you don't know basketball or you don't watch enough basketball and move on. Because Ben Simmons is easily a top 3 defender in the league. First team all defense last year. And he can definitely be Defensive Player of the Year. If you think he's not even close, if you think that he's not even in the radar of Defensive Player of the Year, you have a lot of inner self to look at. Because the fact that you think that shows me you don't know what you're watching, or you're just not watching at all. That's really all it comes down to. And for him to come out and say he thinks he's the best defender in the league, you want your player to think that, first off. Second off, for all the people who are saying that he's not, are the people that are like, oh, he can't shoot. First off, him shooting has nothing, I repeat, nothing to do with him playing defense. They're literally opposite sides of the ball. And if your only excuse of him not being a top defender is the fact that he can't shoot, again, admit you don't know basketball and take your ass home. Now, let's look at some defensive stats real quick. This man has been averaging, the lowest steals per game he's been averaging in his career for an entire season is 1.4. Last year was 2.1. This year's 1.7, almost averaging a block a game. If you round up, it is a block a game. And if we scroll on down to defensive rating, he's at a 106. For his career, he's at a 105, which I know it doesn't sound that great right off the rip, but if you compare it to other players, it's going to be in the top in the league. Defensive box plus minus. This year, 2.6, which is so far his best of his career. Then, if we move on over to per 36, the man is averaging 1.8 steals per 36, 1 block per 36. And if we look at the totals, he's already gotten 39 steals and 19 blocks during this time. And on top of that, if you actually watch Sixers games, you will notice what kind of impact he has on the defensive side of the ball, because you will see that he guards the best player on the other team more often than not, and more often than not, that player does not play very well on offense or does not play up to their average. If you watched the game just the other night against the Portland Trailblazers, which, yes, the Sixers did end up losing, but he guarded Damian Lillard. What did Damian Lillard do? Shot 6 for 21. Terrible percentage. Because of Ben Simmons. And those 6 shots that he made, I think about 4 or 5 of them came when Danny Green was guarding him. So, if you look at it, he only made 2, maybe 3 shots against Ben Simmons. And that's against Damian Lillard, one of the best offensive guards in the entire league. But no, keep saying that, Ben Simmons is not one of the best defensive players in the league. He's saying he is the best because you're not going to see him say like, oh, I'm only the 3rd best defensive player in the league. Ain't nobody going to say that. Come on now.